In today's podcast, I look at the song The Female Highwayman, also known as Sylvia and Sovay, and I explore its background and printing history, and sing versions of the song, and end on a full performance. Shiloh, Shiloh, all on one day, she dressed herself in man's array, with a brace of pistols hung by her side, to meet her true love, away did ride. As she was riding over the plain, she met her true love and bid him stand. Stand and deliver, kind sir, said she, or else this moment you shall die. And when she'd robbed him of his store, she said, kind sir, there is one thing more, a diamond ring which I know you have. Deliver it, your life to save. My diamond ring a token is, my life I'd lose, the ring I'll save. Being tender-hearted, much like a dove, she rode away from her true love. That tune and words were collected by Henry Hammond in July 1906 from Mrs. Young of Long Barton in Dorset. A young woman disguises herself as a highwayman and stops and robs her sweetheart of his watch and gold. When she demands his ring, he refuses, stating that it's a token from his true love, and she rides away. The next day they meet, and he sees his watch hanging from her clothes, and she explains that she was the one who robbed him. To test his fidelity, the refusal to give the ring assured her of his love. The song can be traced back to the mid-18th century, when it appeared in 1764 as The Female Highwayman in a chapbook printed in Dublin. The song was regularly printed in the broadside press as Sylvia's Request and William's Denial. The song is generally thought to be a product of the 18th century pleasure gardens. The pleasure gardens were a dedicated outdoor space for entertainment. The first garden was established in 1729 at Vauxhall in London. The entry payment was high enough to discourage ruffians and prostitutes. This attracted the wealthier patrons. There were shrubberies and miniature waterways, dedicated buildings for performances of operas, dancing and masquerades. The idea became popular, and soon other gardens were plying for trade both in London and other major cities. The gardens encouraged music, dancing, plays and operas. New songs were produced that became absorbed into the common street literature and were printed in street ballads and song sheets, distributed in the gardens and around the towns and cities. Quite a number of songs that were produced became the original source of songs we now call folk songs. The gardens went into decline in the mid-19th century. This was due to the decline in standards, which allowed the growth of criminal activity from prostitution to assault, robbery and murder. The rise of the musical replaced the musical element that had attracted the clientele to the gardens. Early next morning, plain to be seen, that couple walked on the garden green. When he saw his watch hanging by her clothes, it made him blush, it made him blush, it made him blush like the damask rose. How can you blush at such a thing? More if I'd had your diamond ring, for it's I that rob you upon the plain. Now take your gold, love, now take your gold, love, now take your gold, love, and your watch again. I did intend and was to know whether your love was true or no, and now I have a contented mind. My love and all, my love and all, my love and all, my dear, are thine. That tune and words came from Mab's Hall of Horsham in Sussex. The 17th century saw improvement to road surfaces on the major highways. This encouraged more freedom of travel and the growth of stagecoaches, which enabled travel for business and pleasure. The first stagecoach route started in 1610, and the first stage company was established in 1706 with a regular route between London and York. Coaching inns became a more regular feature of the highways, allowing a change of horses, refreshments for passengers, to pick up parcels and mail for delivery. By the late 1700s, a dedicated mail service was established, with mail coaches travelling between cities. This movement of traffic and individuals brought with it highway robbers. The highwayman was defined as a robber on horseback who usually targeted coaches. The most famous highwaymen were Dick Turpin and Claude Duval. There were several known female highwaymen, including Mary Frith and Catherine Ferrers. The ballad opera The Beggar's Opera by John Gay, which was first performed in 1728 with its anti-hero Macheath the Highwayman, helped to make the fictional robbers into romantic adventurers. There were several highwayman songs from the mid to late 1800s, including The Wild and Wicked Youth, also known as The Flash Lad, Duval's Last Farewell, and The Life and Death of George of Oxford. By the early 1800s, this form of robbery had declined due to improved defence of the stagecoaches using armed guards, toll roads that were policed, and a rise in the formal police force. Sylvia, Sylvia, all on a day, she dressed herself in man's array, with a sword and pistol down by her side, to meet her true love away did ride. She met her true love all on the plain. She stepped up to him and bid him stand. Stand and deliver unto me, she said, or in a moment your life I'll have. He gave her all his golden store, but still she said there's one thing more. A diamond ring, sir, I saw you wear. Make haste and give it, and your life I'll spare. This diamond ring is a pledge of love. My life I'd lose before the ring I'll give. Being tender-hearted just like a dove, she turned round and left her true love. The tune and words were collected by the daughter of the late Daniel Wotton of Ballywillan in Ulster in June 1924 and printed in Sam Henry's Songs of the People. The use of cross-dressing, usually females into young men, was a common device used in European literature and performing arts and plays. The disguised female usually had an ulterior motive for her actions, usually romance, either to watch her true love or to make sure he was true, or as a subplot in some adventure. In the ballads, the young women changed their appearance in order to find their true love who had been forced to join the army or navy. In Sylvia's case, she wants to test her lover for his fidelity and bravery. The collectors from the English Folk Song Society found the song to be well known and spread across the south of England. The song was also found to be popular in Ireland and North America. The name of the heroic lady varies from Sylvia, Sovay, Shiloh, Sally and Cecilia. In some versions her name's not provided at all. The text is often very similar, with some variations, as we would expect from a song of its age, and the various tunes are usually melodic and rhythmical. The song became very popular in the English folk clubs when A.L. Lloyd reworked the version collected by Henry Hammond from Mrs. Young of Long Barton in Dorset. That's the version I used to start this podcast. He renamed the heroine from Shiloh to Sovay. That version was taken up by Martin Carthy and recorded in 1965 on his first solo album. The song was then copied by many of the growing folk club singers in the 1960s folk club scene. This is a fine song with a strong female heroine. It's well worth singing. I will end this podcast with a tune collected in May 1906 by George Gardner from Alfred Doe of Bartley in Hampshire, with words collected by Alfred Williams under the title The Buxom Blade from an old carter named W. Barrett, Martin Macy in Wiltshire. In London there lived a buxom blade, a jolly butcher all by his trade. He fell in love with some damsel bright, and he loved her dearly, and he loved her dearly as he loved his life. With her silvery finery on one day, She dressed herself in man's array, with a sword and pistol hung by her side, to meet her true love, she did ride. And when she met him all on the plain, she boldly bid him for to stand. Stand and deliver, kind sir, she said, or else this moment your life I'll have. Then he delivered his golden store. She cried aloud, sir, there's one thing more. There's a diamond ring which I saw you wear. Deliver it, your life to spare. This diamond ring was a token given, and I'll keep it too if my life I lose. She being tender-hearted like a dove, she rode away from her true love. The very next day they both were seen, walking together in the garden green. Seeing his watch hanging by her side, it made him blush like any rose. What makes you blush, you foolish thing? 'Twas I that wanted your diamond ring. 'Twas I that robbed you all on the plain. So take your watch, love, and your gold again. The reason for my doing so was to see whether you were man or no. But now I have a contented mind, my heart and all, my love is thine.